Hi, it's Jared from Strong Roots Farm. Today we're going to talk about when should I spread my manure. That's coming up after this. Well, welcome back. We got a short video here real quick. I am out frost seeding. And yes, there's no snow. There's no frost coming. It's mid-March in Ohio. Very rare. I ordered my seed to get here the third week of February from Welter Seed. It arrived on time. They're out of Iowa. I recommend them. Very good stuff from them. The seed came when it was supposed to. The weather, on the other hand, did not. And so today this video is not talking about frost seeding, but that's what we're out here in the pasture doing. And I thought I would talk a little bit about spreading manure. So for those of you who are on the Greg Judy train of never spreading manure, I'm with you. I like that idea. I like the idea of not owning a manure spreader, selling it, making that money and using it for something else. I like the idea of never spending time spreading manure. But inevitably, here in Ohio, the best I have gotten so far is 60 days in the barn. Now, when I say in the barn, we have about a 4 to 5 acre paddock system. There's 4 paddocks up around our barn, but we have to give our calves or our cows a way to go back into our barn. And that's where we feed hay. And so you've seen videos of the cows and up by the barn and my hay feeder system and that kind of stuff. But inevitably, I spend about 60 days up there. Personally, I kind of like the time. I don't know that it's the best management, but for me, it's 60 days where I can look at the cows for 5 seconds, go into my shop and get stuff done in the winter and put out hay every 3rd to 4th day. So for me, it is kind of a nice break. It's nice to see the cows out the back window every day. We rarely get a chance to do that because we move them through the pastures, as you know, if you're following our channel. But it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice in the winter to have that break for me and my body, have some shop projects and have the calves and cows close. It'd be awesome if they all calve during that period, I'm finding, but we have kind of got this mid-March to mid-May plan. And so that's kind of what we're on right now. But they're in the barn and that's the key. And so I have manure. The question is, when should you spread manure? So there's a lot of research out there. I recommend you don't take me at the gospel. I recommend you do your own research. But I'm going to give you what I've learned and give you my pointers and probably what I'm going to do this year, most likely. And so I have heard from certain people that everybody loves, and I got beat up in a video for throwing stones. And so I'm not going to do that. I'm not throwing stones at what everybody else says. But there's a guy that everybody follows, and he says the microbes are not available in the ground. It's worthless to spread your manure late in the fall or too early in the spring. He recommends spreading manure in August, and that is when it will best benefit your ground. That you are wasting it if you spread it, and we are in mid-March, if you spread it in mid-March. And so today I'm not saying you shouldn't spread it in August. I think that's a great time if you want to do a pigurator and then spread it in August for the fall slump of grass. I think that's great, but I do want to show you what manure does. I spread this in January if you would go back and watch some of my videos. So it's kind of hard to see. You can see some of the thatch from straw here on the ground. There's some remnants of manure left. This was spread mid-January, and it's hard to see because I've been driving over this back and forth with my spreader. But you see this dark green spot right there? It comes right down through here. It's very evident. I wish I could show you. So let's walk up here. This will kind of be a better help. So grass right here, I don't know, 3 to 4 inches, right? And then you go over here where the manure was spread. So if you go in the center of where the manure spread, it's obviously the thickest. But let's go out about 6 feet from the center of my manure spreader. So let's say it had a 12-foot span. Let's look at the grass here. At least 8 inches. It's double. It's hard to tell on video, but if you go out through here, you can definitely tell where I spread. Good or bad? Was it as effective as in March or April, or in March as in August? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you on that. There are as many research that says it's better in August, but I'm telling you, if you are in a place where you have manure from the winter, it's dry enough to get into your fields, and that's the key. I definitely don't advocate for coming out and rutting up your fields with your tractor in the Midwest in March and April when it's wet and muddy. But if you get a dry spell where you can come out, there is some evidence, as shown here to me, that it's very effective. I used more hay this year because of my poor management. It's on me. Because we started in the barn mid-December. It's the earliest I've been in about 4 years. So typically mid-January is when I stop my grazing. I held too many calves too long in the fall because of prices, and I waited to move them. That is my problem. I started feeding hay out in the pasture, unrolling it in November. So now, come mid-March, I'm out of hay. So it would really benefit me to have this grass booming in mid-March versus mid-April. Now, will the manure make it boom? I'm not so sure about that, but it's evident that it's going to help us. The other thing, the late falls. So I didn't spread manure in the late fall because I didn't have it, but I did put an area down that was concentrated manure. It's what I did was put my shade structure down, just to kind of cut to the chase. I put the shade structure down. Cows get around it more because of the shade in the fall. And that's also my mineral bin and water. You can check that video out. But through my pasture here, see this dark green circle? See the dark green circle over there? See the dark green circles up there? That's where my shade structure was. I didn't bale graze there. That kind of reminds me of what these guys at bale graze would look at. They'll bale graze and there's a concentration of manure. So by evidence over there, what happened, if I would have spread my manure in end of October, mid-October, if that's when I had manure, if I would have spread it, it would have also helped my spring grass to boost. Even though I have heard, and I have heard it taught at conferences, that if you spread it in the late fall, you're wasting it. It will run off. You will cause bad runoff. You will cause, the microbiology is not there to use it. And is it less? Probably. That's what I'm saying. But to say always and never, anytime somebody says always and never, you should never spread it in fall. The words always and never, my wife and I, through our marriage, have learned those are bad words. They're bad words in marriage, and they're bad words in manure. So like I said, this was spread in mid-January, this manure that I spread. That is not, I've never done that before, ever. So why did I do it? One, the ground was froze, so I wasn't worried about sinking in, and it was from the hogs. So I built a new pig pen this year in the barn, and I had my hogs in there, and I wanted to keep them clean. So I was going through, and I had a deep bedding system, but they were rooting it all up into piles, which pigs will do. They root and tear up everything. And they were kind of smelling up the barn more than I thought they should. And so I took some of that manure. I started daily or every other day cleaning it, throwing it into the manure spreader. When I got a load, I got rid of it. So all that happened in mid-January, and this is what I got. And so now, what am I going to do today? What do I recommend today? Mid-March, I'm out here frost seeding with no frost coming, no snow. What am I going to do? So today, I'm using my ATV spreader, which maybe I should do a video on the back of the gator. I'm spreading my seed on the pasture. I'm going to wait 2 to 3 days, and then I'm going to daily graze through this very quickly. I have lighter framed cows, so I don't have no 1,600 pounders that's going to pug this up. The ground is got a pretty good substantial grass covering on it as far as soaking up the rains and the waters that we're having. I'm going to step in all this seed. As we move the cows through very quickly, daily moves here in March, and we step in the seed, I'm coming behind them with that manure. I need this grass to be booming. So I have about 3 weeks worth of grass out here left over that I'm going to start grazing now to get me to mid-April. And then hopefully by then, that manure has kicked that grass in. We start that spring slump, that spring boost early, flush they call it. Get that early, and my hay dilemma will be over. And so I can't find any around here. I have to feed the animals. I do have the feed. I just don't like to graze this early, but this is what I'm doing. I'm using my manure in March in the Midwest because I can in order to boost my grass. All right, thank you for watching the whole video. And in closing, I want to tell you and answer this question: when should you spread your manure? The answer is never, always, or never. And that's the key. So you can't go wrong, is my opinion. If you spread it when it best benefits you. If you need it in the spring, spread it in the spring. If you want to spread it in the summer, spread it in the summer. But don't let anybody tell you that it's ineffective, it's a waste, and it will not work to spread it at inopportune times. So is there a best time? I would say Salatin's probably right in August. I like that. I've heard other people say that. When your summer slump starts in, spread that. It boosts your grass, carries you good through fall. You have better fall growth, and you can start your stockpiles. I like that as far as perfect. But I don't know what perfect is. Everything that people has told me is not 100% accurate, and you can say whatever you want on YouTube, and it doesn't get fact checked. There's nobody coming to censor my videos to a point. And so what I'm going to tell you is whatever works best for you. If you have a spot that you're tilling and you're going to seed down new grass, which is not the best thing in my opinion, put the manure on it. That's what's going to get your grass that boost. Don't use synthetic fertilizers. You can use that manure to benefit your ground. If you have a piece of your farm that is hurting, piece of your farm that's not growing as well as the rest, spread that manure there. That's where you want it. Use it to your advantage. Those are the nutrients that you've done a good job using a carbonaceous cycle and putting all that carbon in there and keeping all that nitrogen controlled. Do it. Now, that is one thing that I disagree with the August, and one thing that you will have trouble with. If you let that manure pile up and go through a summer heat, you're going to have trouble keeping that nitrogen in if you didn't use enough carbon. So also, it's on the quality of your manure. I'm not giving you a very definitive answer, but I'm giving you a bigger window, I hope. I hope you understand that don't fret about it as much as people say you should. Spread it when you need it most and where you need it most. Hope this video helps you. Thank you for continuing to watch, and I appreciate everybody and your comments, all those things. I hope this works for you in your endeavors of grazing, and I hope you got through this drought of a year that we've had with your animals through this winter. I'm excited for spring and the other projects we're going to get to show. Thanks for watching.